Here.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Here.
Councilman Hartland.
Here.
Councilwoman Weber.
Here.
Supervisor Syed.
Here. All right, rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Councilman McPartlin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so before we get going here, we have quite a few people in the room, so we are going to begin with,
How about our friends from softball?
yeah.
How about them? And then you can go. So everybody from softball, stand up. This is
Softball board members.
everybody associated with softball who would like to come up here, and Assemblyman Stack, who is also a mean softball player. Come on up. Well, you want us to come down there? Okay.
Okay,
Come on,
we
Kim.
can do that.
My team, your team, come on.
Just listen to Sarah. It's the key to all my success. Let's sprinkle you guys in here. So, there you go. Lisa Flint's right at us. Emily, this is gonna be long, so Lisa come right around with you got photos. Great. I have a couple other parents that can try to take pictures back here for me. Where do you want me to do? Sarah, give me somewhere. Yep.
Okay, full smile.
Just make it. Yeah. Up.
You know?
No? Where's your pictures? All right, great. Jeff will give it to us. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I take one with Sarah in it.
Yeah, like, just keep smiling. I got it.
So on behalf of our board of directors and girls here tonight ranging from 7 to I think 15 or 16 years old, this has been a long time coming. We are very, very grateful for this investment. Our team went from one travel team about 5 years ago to one at every level. We're really excited about what this will do for our program. We're excited to host our first tournament this year, and we hope to host more in the future. So on the count of three, girls, we're going to yell thank you, okay? 1, 2, 3. Thank you! Oh, we can do better than that. You cheer at game song. 1, 2, 3. Thank you!
Very well. So we'll put this one up in the district office.
Come see it.
And we all really want to thank Assemblyman Stack. I think we all know this started when he came here one day. He and Lisa had a conversation. Then Dave hit him up some more, and between all of us and Yasmin, I think we really all worked together as a great team on behalf of a great team. So Assemblyman Stack, you were the catalyst of all this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
In addition to
These are the things that really make it worthwhile. You can see your effort bear fruit in the field, literally.
Thank you. All right, ladies, we can file right out the way we came.
This was awesome. Next up.
This one right there for you.
Thanks,
Wait,
Dave.
wait. Oh, no. This is good. No. We got it. They were giving us things. We got the fun.
All right, moving right along. Science ball. I was going to make the softball players stay to watch this awesome presentation by the Iroquois Middle School on what happened at Science Bowl this year. If they want to go places, they should have stayed, but I'm staying and I really want to watch it, and so does the supervisor and all of our colleagues. So take it away, Iroquois Science Bowl team.
Hi, everybody. We're the Uruguay Science Bowl team, and we recently went to DC for the National Science Bowl. We're here to tell you a little bit about it.
Lisa?
You need a microphone.
Here you go.
Bring one over.
Hello, everybody. We're the Iroquois Science Bowl team, and we recently went to DC for the National Science Bowl. We're here to tell you a little bit about it.
Okay, actually, first of all, we would like to introduce ourselves. I'm James, I'm in 7th grade, and yeah.
I'm John Stabler, and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Paula Videtta, and I'm an 8th grader too.
I'm Ellie, and I'm an 8th grader.
I'm Cedar, and I'm in 8th grade.
Alright. So, what is the National Science Bowl? So, as you can see, probably even though it's cut off a bit, it's like a buzzer-style competition. So it's sort of like a game show, but there are 2 teams with 4 players that are playing, like against each other. So it's basically a game show, but it's science, and it's 2 teams. So yeah.
So as you can see, the topics are biology, physical science, which is chemistry and physics combined, earth and space, math and energy, and teams that win their regionals competitions advance to nationals at DC, and these are teams from all over the country.
We have listed a few sample questions here.
So they're slightly cut off, but the first one is, if log 5 is 0.699, what is log 500? And this is an example of a math question, short answer. And yeah, you probably, like, the answer is 2.699. So this is like a kind of question that would be done in 5 seconds, toss-up question, where both teams could get it. Our second question is, so this is a life science question. Which cell organelle is responsible for respiration? And here, as you can see, we have 4 choices. The answer is Y in this case. And then below, we have 3 more questions in each of the other categories: energy, physical science, and earth and space.
So as you can see, there is a time constraint too, so you have to think very quickly.
So these questions would be examples of what's called a toss-up question, where you have 5 seconds to answer. There are also slightly harder questions called bonus questions, where you can confer with your team and you have 20 seconds to answer those. So our team was selected around December. We had to start by taking a written test, anyone who was interested in Science Bowl. Then the top 10 scorers were selected to move on and practice together for a few weeks so that Mrs. Judd could select the 5 that would be on the team. And starting from January, we began meeting once or twice a week to practice questions. Since the topics are so widespread, each of us specialized in a specific branch of science, and we did a few mock competitions against VA to get us ready for regionals.
We tied in those, by the way, I'm just saying.
The next months flew by as we extensively studied topics ranging from the difference between mitosis and meiosis, hydrocarbons, classical mechanics, types of tides, and so much more.
And we also had to prepare a car powered by a falling weight as a friendly competition in regionals while the high schoolers were competing in their Science Bowl. and we like carefully engineered the car and ramp using tools like a bandsaw, and it was like a whole new learning experience because like we had to do research on like which type of ramp would get like the car from point A to point B the fastest, and which would give it the most momentum.
We arrived at the GE Global Research Center early on a Saturday morning in March, along with middle schoolers all across the capital region. In the morning, we took part in the race with the self-designed cars.
We entered our first match nervous and with low expectations. To our surprise, we whizzed through games with speed, accuracy, and our great team chemistry. Yeah. After a very tense and close semifinal, we advanced to the finals and we won, and with it, a 5-day trip to nationals in DC. Motivated by our win and excited for the trip, we began to study even harder, especially since the nationals questions are way harder than regionals, meeting as much as we could. So we studied and studied more.
And then it took place during our April break, and this is our schedule for the week. So on the first day, we like flew to DC and took like a night tour of the monuments, like the Vietnam War Memorial and the Lincoln Memorial. And then on day 2, we basically spent the whole day like touring museums at the National Mall, though we were only able to get to 2 because like we tried to cram in a lot of studying there. And then our day 3 was like the competition. We only won 1 out of our 5 games in our division, in which there were 6 teams. And like we had this enhancement activity where we had to build this vehicle that was powered by a fan for an enhancement activity, and we came in 3rd place for the enhancement activity. And the 4th day, we went on this like cyber challenge where we like gathered in this auditorium, and like we had to like answer all these questions on this one computer, while on another computer we could do research on the other computer to help us with the answers to the questions. And on day 5, like we watched the finals and then we flew back home.
So as you can see, we had a very packed schedule, but it was so much more than just the competition. We got to meet kids from all across the country. In fact, Ellie and I got to room with 2 girls from Colorado, and we just had so much fun there. We played Frisbee outside. We were playing games in the airport. We definitely got some questionable looks when we were doing our science bowl questions there. And we were wandering through all of these great museums in the National Mall. And this has been such a fulfilling and such a pleasure to be part of the Science Bowl team. And we got unlimited ice cream there too. I made so many special memories, and I really hope to be part of it next year. And looking back, I've learned so much, and this has really motivated me to pursue STEM. And I've had fun while doing it.
So I actually didn't know like Science Bowl existed until I came to middle school, and I was like, oh wait, this is a thing. So I did it, and it turned out I actually got in, and then into the top 5. So then I was in the Science Bowl team, and it was really like challenging at first. Then I got used to it, and I got sort of good at it. So then we went to regionals, and we did good there. And then we went to nationals, and that was actually like really fun, especially the Cyber Challenge, which is basically like computer programming trivia. That was really fun to be able to work together and solve problems like that. So cool.
So we thought this would be a good segue into talking a little bit about the science curriculum in our schools. And for me, this was really an eye-opener to see how much we could learn if we really were dedicated and if the curriculum was advanced. Because I think we need to get kids really excited about STEM as early on as we can. Because as James just mentioned, none of us, except like Ellie here, because her brother did it, we didn't even know that Science Bowl existed. So really raising awareness for these clubs and activities. And if we could get girls more interested, when we went to the nationals, we were told that only 15% of the members were girls there, which is really low. As a girl who is interested in STEM, we really need to get more girls involved.
We need to help kids get interested in STEM activities from an early age, because then it can pique their interest and allow them to pursue harder, more like challenging STEM activities later on in life, like throughout high school and college. We think that as a school district, we should put more emphasis on STEM and academic endeavors, because as like we said before, not very many people know about Science Bowl until they hear it on the announcements. And then even after that, not many try out. We have thought of some ways that we could change the elementary, middle, and high school science curriculums to possibly make them better for the people taking them.
So one such way is through the STEAM bus, and some of us work on the STEAM bus, and the STEAM bus is basically a mobile classroom that's all about promoting STEM. And we visit elementary schools, and actually middle schoolers and high schoolers work on it. So that programs like that, we need more of that. And if we could find a way to incorporate those into community activities, that would also be good. So I know there's been some talk about changing the curriculum just to make it more interesting, because science is interesting and we need to make it that way. So thank you for having us, and thank you.
Well, guys, that was awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Stand up here.
Oh, wait, okay. Do
Stand in the dark. They can see how attractive you are. Congratulations. As everyone can see, this is an amazing group of young people. They are led by Monica Judd, who, how long have you been with the school district now, Monica? What are you? She taught my daughter was no science bowler, but she put up with her. Her daughter taught my daughter how to swim. She's had an enormous impact on my family's life, and I'm so pleased to see the impact she has had on these fine young people. You will remember this trip for the rest of your life. Councilwoman Weber, would you like to read them their resolution?
I'd be delighted. Thank you. Congratulations on this spectacular achievement. A resolution to congratulate the Iroquois Middle School Science Bowl team. Whereas the U.S. Department of Energy National Science Bowl is a highly competitive science, education, and academic event among teams of high school and middle school students who compete by solving technical problems and answering questions in science and math. The National Science Bowl was created in 1991, and approximately 290,000 students have participated in the National Science Bowl throughout its 28-year history. This year, Gian Stabler, Pallavi Datta, Ellie Grossman, Cedar Cause, and James Leon, members of the Iroquois Middle School Science Bowl team, were coached by science teacher Monica Judd, and on March 2nd, 2019, the Iroquois Middle School Science Bowl team earned a trip to the National Science Bowl in Washington, D.C. with the first place finish in a regional competition held at GE Global Research. And whereas in April of 2019, the 2018-19 Iroquois Middle School Science Bowl team competed in the National Science Bowl in Washington, D.C. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that this town board, on behalf of all the residents of the town of Niskayuna, congratulates Gian Stabler, Pallavi Datta, Ellie Grossman, Cedar Cause, and James Leon and their coach, Monica Judd, on their efforts in the field of science, technology, engineering, and math, and wishes them continued success in all of their future pursuits. Signed by all of the members of the Niskayuna Town Board and our town supervisor. Where is Mrs. Judd here? Oh, come up, come on up.
Thank you very much.
Great job, guys. Thank you so much. That was excellent. So interesting.
Okay, and next we have a ceremonial resolution recognizing the Niskayuna Unified Sports Program. So if the Unified Sports members would like to
This one.
Come on up. We'll line up. We'll see how many girls. Why don't we start with one crowd? All the way here next to me, going all the way to Councilwoman Weber.
All the tall guys.
Line up, everybody. Yeah.
Oh. Need to make a couple of rows. I think we can pull it off.
Thanks, my guys. Okay, Councilwoman McGraw is handing out your resolutions. Now, the unified team was brought to my attention by Mrs. Lohr, who works at your high school, and she also works as part of our community program staff. And she had the idea to honor you guys with a resolution at our last community programs meeting, because she said that the school is brimming with excitement every time that your group has a game. And that your spirit of inclusion and friendship just permeates the entire school and improves the atmosphere in the school and the sense of school spirit throughout Niskayuna High School and comes out throughout our entire community. So I am so glad I reached out to Coach Stanton and got some more information about your team. And I'm able to welcome you here tonight to accept these resolutions. And I would like to take the opportunity to read them. I know we have 3 teams here. We've got basketball, we've got bowling, and we've got a cheerleading squad. And I'd like to welcome you all to our town hall. Okay. A resolution honoring the athletes and coaches of the 2019 Niskayuna High School Unified Sports Team. Be it enacted by the town board of the town of Niskayuna as follows. Whereas Unified Sports is a program of the Special Olympics which joins people with and without intellectual disabilities on the same team to promote inclusion, athletics, and friendship. Whereas approximately 1.4 million people worldwide take part in unified sports, breaking down stereotypes about people with intellectual disabilities in a fun way. Whereas the Niskayuna High School has participated in the unified sports program for the past 4 years and has a unified bowling and basketball team, as well as a unified cheerleading squad. Whereas the basketball team plays 6 games a season, followed by a playoffs, and the bowling team has 4 matches a season, followed by a culminating event. Whereas the Niskayuna Town Board would like to recognize the members of the 2018-2019 teams, as well as their coaches, Coach Jessica Stanton and assistant coach Sharon Berberich, bowling, and Sarah Best, basketball, for their positive contributions and for their participation in unified sports has made towards strengthening the Niskayuna High School and the greater Niskayuna community by fostering friendship and opportunity. Therefore, be it hereby resolved that this Niskayuna Town Board, on behalf of all of the residents of the town of Niskayuna, congratulates the following team members. And I'm going to apologize if I mispronounce anybody's last name or first name. Unified basketball team: Cameron Bagnato, Amy Botswick, Tyrell Buchanan, Makari Bullock, John Bullock, Ryan Carroll, Hunter Clemens, Antonio Catugno, Patrick Daly, William Dudley, Veronica Forth, Kyle Gresson, Elise Hale, Nick Joe, McKenna Kelleher, Emma Kowalski, Lucas Lynch, Brian Maldonado, Olivia Malpe, Greg Metzger, Dan Miller, Alexandra. Okay, thank you. Dominic Novak, Claire Popolewski, Anna Kate Richardson, Maddie Ruby, Jeremy Ruby, James J.D. Sinkus, Chris Sperano, Skylar Starker, Aiden Stevens, Ryan Spizek, Jack Trombley, Sam Wagner, Ben Wellick, Sarah Zakuski, managers Alex Gibelius, Gabelius, okay, Jack Driscoll, and Leslie Purley. Student coaches Jeff Halusik, Ben Tandelmeyer, and Shay O'Brien. A round of applause. Okay, unified cheer team: Linda Bolger, Megan Delahanty, Brooke Dempsey, Christina Diso, Jenna Gresson, Stephanie Hamelink, Sophia Maki, and Alexandra Maki, Lena Marshall, Catherine Schiavi, Minal Singh, Parker Stiles, Kim Wilner. Give them a cheer. Unified bowling team: Cameron Bagnato. All right. Tyler Buchanan. Oh, Tyrell Buchanan, sorry. Linda Bolger. William Dudley. Alex Gabelius, okay. I'll get it one of these days. Jack Goldstoff, Kyle Gresson, Jenna Gresson, Nick Joe, Olivia Malti, Greg Metzger, Mia Rauch, Jeremy Ruby, Aiden Stevens, Jack Trombley. And this is signed by our town supervisor and all the members of the town board. Congratulations. And I can just say that you guys have so much spirit that not only have you added spirit to your school, but you've added spirit to our town board meeting. And that's fantastic. So thank you. We can use that. Thank you for coming.
Well, yeah.
That's a good step, right?
What did I say? What did you say?
You think that was nice? I read everybody.
Is my name on that?
It was, or on that. No, I don't know about that. That's the softball, but you get
Oh,
one of
what's this?
these, and it
What is
has
it?
your name in it.
What is it?
That's the proclamation.
Oh, yeah, right here.
It's a legal document.
We'll pull it. I told him that you or I would get back to him tomorrow. Historical committee.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, is the fire marshal here yet? Can we have?
Just showed up, and thank goodness they're
Thank
all
you.
out of here.
They're gone. They're gone.
Full
Now he's here.
overcapacity.
Look who's here.
Welcome. I'll make room
All
for
the
you.
cool kids are here tonight. Wow.
Welcome, welcome. So last but not least, we have a resolution recognizing Niskuna Fire District 1. And I will read. Whereas each year, the members of the Schenectady County EMS Committee selects an Agency of the Year. And whereas the Schenectady County EMS Committee is responsible for the operations of the emergency medical services system throughout the county of Schenectady. And whereas the County EMS Committee is made up of local hospitals, fire rescue, and EMS services. And whereas a selected subcommittee reviews nominations for the annual EMS awards and selects an awardee. And whereas the Schenectady County EMS Committee has selected Niskuna Fire District Number 1 as the 2019 Agency of the Year. And whereas the Schenectady County Legislature will be recognizing Niskuna Fire District Number 1 on Tuesday, June 11, 2019. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Niskuna Town Board join with the County Legislature and the County EMS Committee in congratulating our hometown, Niskuna Fire District Number 1, for their exemplary emergency medical response performance and dedication to the safety of our community. Congratulations. Thank you so much for keeping our community safe. I will present this to you. You can take this with you.
No, I just want to thank the town board and supervisor for taking the time to recognize us. And also, I dragged a couple guys up here. They're working tonight, but these are the guys that are actually out there doing those EMS calls in the middle of the night. I'm fortunate. I work a 9 to 5, but these are the folks that are actually out there doing it. So I just wanted them to be recognized. So thank you.
Thank you all so much.
There they go.
Okay. We're now going to move on to approval of the minutes. And first, we have the minutes from the regular town board meeting of September 25th, 2018. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I get a second? I will second. Are there any comments or changes to the minutes?
I've got a couple of small changes.
Okay.
Let's see, these are the 25th minutes. Where it says privilege of the floor, it says William Chapman. It says commented on the resolution naming town hall. It should say in honor of Edwin G. Riley.
Okay.
It says horned. And that error repeats. It must be a spell check error. It repeats on the next two lines as well, so it just needs to be fixed.
Okay.
And then under public hearings, 3 paragraphs down, it says there being no members of the public. Just insert the word wish, who, in between public and wished.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Are there any other changes?
it's that same change, just repeats a couple of times. When we're talking about other hearings, there being no other members of the public who wish to be heard on public hearings.
Okay.
And let's see. I believe when we're talking about under the public hearings, we're talking about Marina Fairchild, not Maria.
Okay.
And
And I think is it Franchild is the last name too? Marina Franchild. Okay, thanks.
Under committee reports, under my committee report, I'm talking about fall soccer, not spring. And the new employee, Max Rebecca, his last name is spelled Ribeca.
Okay.
And under supervisor's report, I believe in the first sentence, it should be budget workshops that will insert be occurring in October.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all I have.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Are there any other changes? Okay. So all those in favor signified by saying aye for the minutes with changes. Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, and those minutes with the changes are approved. Next, we have the minutes from the regular town board meeting of October 23rd, 2018. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I get a second? I will second. And are there any changes?
Let's see. On this one, I think in the bold, a motion was made by Councilwoman Murphy McGraw to amend this resolution to have, it should be the town controller. And that's all I have.
Okay. Was that on the 4th page? Oh, okay. Yep. Okay. Are there any other changes?
Not that I've seen.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye for the minutes with changes. Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, those minutes with changes are approved. And lastly, we have the minutes from the special town board meeting of October 30th, 2018. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I will second. Are there any changes to those minutes?
And this one under Joseph Hehar's comments, I think that he was talking about bonding for depreciating assets not being a good idea, which would make more sense.
Yeah, it's appreciating assets.
Appreciating
That's the term.
Appreciating assets. It is the term. Okay. Okay. I just wanted to clarify on that.
Okay.
And again, it's there being no members of the public who wish to be heard.
Okay. Are there any other changes?
Okay. Nope. That's it. Thanks.
Okay. All those in favor signified by saying aye for the minutes with changes. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, those minutes with changes are approved.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have privilege of the floor. If anyone would like to speak during privilege of the floor, I would ask that you state your name and address for the record. Approach the lectern. We are going to try, and if everyone could be respectful of time and keep their comments to 3 minutes, if at all possible. And privilege of the floor is open.
Go ahead.
Good
gonna have to keep track of time.
Lorene Zabin, 2455 Brookshire Drive. I want to apologize because I became quite panicky when I saw the number of people in this room. At one time, I thought it was 80. The planner corrected me and said it was 113, especially when the councilwoman had all the children sitting up here on the floor. I'm very interested in the safety of this town. And when I saw the number of people that were not only standing against the wall, in the seats, on the floor, my estimation was well over 100. And I think that in our generosity of time, of having frequent time board meetings, to be able to honor the children as you do quite frequently, I do think that your timing is sometimes a little off with the number of people that are that want to come, parents, friends, students, whatever. And I do wish in the future that you might consider the number of people that we're putting here. And I see Mr. Delarada smiling, but it is a safety concern. And, you know, many years ago, not in this town, but in a town I lived in, we used to have a sergeant of arms who was here in the event that we needed someone there. This was not my topic of conversation, but it is something that I am concerned with. Strange things do happen, and this room was overcrowded. And I do think that there could have been a very major problem had something occurred. Anyway, I'm here to address an appointment that I would like to have postponed, and that is for an assessor who apparently is a part-time appointee until the term is up. Now, it says here on the resolution, which is tonight's resolution, that you had interviewed several people, which I do prescribe to the Gazette 7 days a week and the Times Union, and I do read it quite thoroughly. I've never seen an ad for the availability of an assessor. As a matter of fact, many years ago, 30 years ago, we did hire Amy, and I can't believe that the time has passed that she's retiring. She also headed up 2 full revals. Did you say you're limiting me to 3 minutes? Because I'll hurry this up.
Yes.
And she did 2 revals. And at the time, she was a college graduate. She had some of her certification in real estate. And I think that she was qualified compared to the assessor we had prior to Amy. Now we have a Mr. Amberg, who I noticed at one time sat on the Board of Assessment Review. And someone mentioned that he worked for the GAR assessment company that we had at one time when we did a full assessment. And I was just wondering about his other qualifications because I don't know how long he served on the Board of Assessment Review, but I do know that people that have gone there on grievances have found him to be quite stern and not too bending as to giving them some relief. Now, I understand one of our councilwomen did serve on that board, and then he replaced her when she went on to another agenda. So I'm asking, because you've mentioned, I don't know what his qualifications are, okay? That's number one. And according to this one, I saw one assessor they're looking for in Mayfield and one they're looking for in Fulton. But I never saw one that they were looking for in Niskayuna. Now, as I say, there are some requirements here, and I forgot my glasses, but you need some sort of certification that if he doesn't have that, he can get it. But there are some things that he should have preferred, okay, New York State Assessor certification with 3 years of appointment, which I think he's got 3 months. I don't quite understand that. So I assume that once he serves in that position from June to September, that you would consider him to be our next assessor. I don't remember who I went to when we did have our first assessment, but I did feel that mine was literally quite high. Now, the reason I bring that up is because
Lorraine, you're into your almost your 4th minute.
okay, I want you to be aware of the fact that we are the highest taxed and assessed town in the 5 towns. Okay, now since this was a new thing tonight, I don't think that we were prepared to hear that. You did it for the Holocaust, and that made a lot of sense. This is a town board. We just sat through 45 minutes where the town was not considered in the privilege of the floor. You may want to change that just a little bit. I don't intend to speak all night, but I do want you to know that the assessor and the town, I don't particularly like this designation. I think that there should be some changes, and maybe another reval is in the making. I won't speak anymore. I'm just saying that you presenting your future in the town is quite evident. I know what we're doing. I see it. I see it in the proclamations. I see the way you're supporting each other. But all I'm saying, every vote does count. Thank you.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Maybe take 3 minutes to get up there.
Sure, take your time.
My name is Elmer Birch. I live on Orchard Park Drive, 2097. And my concern is with regard to the very function of the town board. Without information, we don't know what the town board is doing. And without the town board doing what they're supposed to do, unless there's some way of knowing that, there's nowhere of holding them to account. Pilots, payments in lieu of taxes, is something awarded by 4 different agencies that affect this community. One is Metroplex, one is the City Industrial Development Agency, one is the County Industrial Development Agency, and the 4th is the capital, Schenectady County Capital Agency. Capital is for not-for-profits. Pending now before the county IDA is a proposal to have a pilot for eventual development of apartment houses on Aqueduct Road in Niskayuna. There was a public hearing held on that. That public hearing was held at the Niskayuna Library from 4 to 4:15. No one attended. No one knew of it. How much the deduction is going to be in taxes, it can be up to 10 years. This is for the building of apartments. I presume the apartments will have students, will have youngsters who will go to school. One of the taxes that they will be exempt from will be school taxes. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the public should know it. We should know it as voters. I would then move on to the Metroplex Development Authority. The average person does not know what is required in the Metroplex law. The law speaks to Metroplex parks, Metroplex schools, Metroplex recreation. None of that occurs. The other thing it states is that Section 2655D, reports by the authority. In addition to all other reports required by this title, each board member appointed upon the recommendation of a municipality other than the county, which means like Niskayuna, by the county shall annually deliver in oral and written form a report to the municipality from which such board member was appointed. In each case, there are two for the city and the rest of towns, okay. In each case, the city of Schenectady, both members so appointed shall jointly deliver such report. Such report shall be presented at a meeting as designated by the municipality's town board. The report shall describe in detail the projects undertaken by the authority during the past year, monies and projects undertaken, monies expended by the authority during the past year, the administration of expenditure. It goes on in detail. It does not occur here. I would think there are not 10 residents of this community that could tell you who the representative is on the Metroplex board that is recommended by this town. The last person that I have listed was recommended by the supervisor at the time, and that would be Joe Landry. And you may be right. It may be Bill Chapman, but let me see. I don't have it here, and I won't pull it out.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
It's-
And more importantly, it's not reported anywhere that it doesn't happen. There is a very, very detailed report required by the law by Metroplex, and it happens all the time. And how is it advertised? In the legal notices of the Gazette. Guess what? I missed it. Last year, I missed it. This year, and I can't believe anybody else saw it. We had it. We had it. The supervisor, try that again. It is entirely controlled as a political entity. The head of Metroplex is a volunteer, gets not 1 cent. Ray Gillen does it free, doesn't get a cent. Oh, but he has another job. That is director of development for the county. In that job, he is being paid $195,000 a year. $195,000 as the commissioner of development for the county of Schenectady, county of Niskayuna. Anything. All right. That is more than the county manager is paid by a lot. You know, is there a political reason? Absolutely not. It's because the director of development deserves $195,000. How much is the DA getting? Don't know. Unless people know what they may be expected, unless they know what the law requires, there is no way of holding you people accountable, and it isn't occurring. And that's very, very dangerous. And I don't think there's an alternative. If you want to go talk to the county legislature or somebody else, nothing, you hear nothing. And the Gazette newspaper seems to have taken a vow not to go into too many things of controversy. And I will close articulated here that I happened to bring, or maybe I didn't. I'm afraid I did, but I can't find it at the moment. Today's Gazette. Oh, okay, no. Here's today's newspaper. This is the TU, not the Gazette, not the newspaper that serves this county. There's one story here about ballot lines cause strife. That's a story about Niskayuna, and Niskayuna Democrats call GOP-led effort disingenuous. Okay, that's one story on the Time News, nothing in the Gazette. Here, candidates disagree on development. Challenges another story about Schenectady County, nothing in the Gazette. The Gazette will tell you how wonderful it is that we have Golub. And we do. We are very fortunate to have gold. And Who's the developer? You're not going to give it to me.
Yeah, I will. I just didn't, who did you ask?
Come on, the developer in Schenectady County. We get praiseworthy stories about him by the editor, the editor. I don't think there's an alternative. I think it's the end of representative government, and it's the end of citizen participation, or we're not citizens, residents of the town of Niskuna. We don't, if you don't know, you don't say, I need to know what the devil is going on. You won't ask because you don't know. Thank you very much for your indulgence.
Thank you.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Amy Hawansky, 2833 Whitmire Drive. Congratulations to the softball team, Iroquois Science Bowl team, Unified Sports team, and the Niski Fire Department District 1 EMS. Great work, and it was really nice to see all of the youth with their wonderful endeavors. I'm really happy to see that in town. I have not seen Town Attorney Hess up here in a while, and I'm wondering where he is and if he is okay. I am concerned that the minutes of previous town board meetings are not being released in a timely manner. Tonight, you are voting to approve minutes from September and October, which puts you about 8 months behind. You should really be voting tonight to approve the minutes from last month's meeting. Recently, there was an article in the Times-Union about the fire at the wastewater treatment facility. In mid-April, my neighbors and I heard multiple sirens as several fire trucks raced down Whitmire Drive. We were concerned that a neighbor's house might be on fire, but the trucks continued down to the wastewater treatment facility. One of the 3 digester units had caught on fire and was destroyed. The incident also severely damaged a second digester unit. A couple of years ago, when the town was mandated to improve the facility, in order to adequately accommodate the town's waste products, the town board decided to go beyond the mandated improvements and greatly increase the capabilities of the facility so that it could handle additional waste from businesses or other towns. At that time, the town claimed that they, as a town entity, were exempt from the usual planning and zoning committee reviews that you and I would have to go through to install a simple fence or shed. And they went ahead with the project without a traffic study of the area and without proper thought to long-term impact. The digester that burned was not improved during the improvement construction. So all of that money spent, but one digester was not improved, and that's the one that caught on fire. Each of the destroyed digesters will cost $1 million to replace. Will the insurance company agree to pay for this, or is it still in dispute? And will the cost be added to the town's debt? During the time the digesters are not working, the town is not making any revenue from outside sources. Several weeks ago, the town board passed their annual budget, which included several $1,000s as planned revenue from the wastewater treatment facility. Another concern, a few days ago, I went to the trailhead but could not park, and there's the trailhead for the Mohawk River State Park at the end of Whitmire Drive. And that's because 3 large pickup trucks were in the space. They were not even parked vertically in the spaces, but rather horizontally across numerous spaces, blocking all of the parking and the entrance to the trailhead. A flatbed was also parked there. A construction employee was doing his paperwork on the hood of one of the trucks. I talked with him and his boss, who were very, very polite. They agreed to move the vehicles and the flatbed immediately. But I have brought this up to the former head of the Department of Sewer and Water, the current head of the department. I've spoken here about it, and I've talked to New York State Parks Department about it. Those vehicles of town employees and construction companies are not allowed to park in the parking spaces used for the Mohawk River State Park. They need to be moved elsewhere, and also it cannot be used as a storage area for construction equipment. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Do you want me to call you up? Matt Yetto, why don't you come up? So Matt, can you tell us a little bit about the fire that was on April 28th and the fire trucks that folks saw?
I'm confused by that. Honestly, the fire that took place.
Who are you, sir?
Matt Yeto, Superintendent of Water and Sewer for the town of Niskuna. There was a fire at the wastewater treatment plant on January 28th. It took place in our sludge dehydrator, which is 10 years old. It was not part of the upgrade project because of the age and the condition was deemed there was still a useful life to it. The only modification to that sludge dryer or dehydrator was that a small modification was made to the gas system so that it could accept the recycled gas from the digesters. Our two existing digesters were not part of the fire, and I'm not quite sure where the April date is coming from.
Were there fire trucks? I mean, I've now heard two people say they saw fire trucks drive down the street. Did you talk to
I spoke to the fire
District 2?
Yeah, I did, and I also talked to the personnel at the plant, and there was no response on that day to the plant. So I'm not quite sure what they're recalling. It may be the earlier date.
Okay.
But the repairs haven't been made yet. We're still waiting for the insurance on the digester. Or, I'm sorry, the dehydrator.
The dehydrator.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open. If anyone else would like to speak. And last call, privilege of the floor is still open.
I'm going to speak for Daryl. Tom Hodgkins, I live in Rosendale Road. I was looking through your agenda for tonight, and I noticed that the lifeguards need a union. The pay rates are quite variable between there's okay. So on the agenda tonight, there's 36 lifeguards. 30 of them are going to get paid less than the state minimum wage. Now, municipalities are exempt, but they're still going to get paid less than the upstate rate, which is $11.10. So we have 36 of them getting paid less than a minimum wage. So that's 83%. And 22 of them are getting $9. 2 of them are getting paid $7.25 an hour. That's a position, where you're responsible for the safety of people using the pool. It's a very high responsibility position. You're paying them $7.25, $8.50, $9. And then the average of all these 36 lifeguards is weighted average pay is $9.66 an hour. But then you have you have 3 at 10, 1 at $10.25, you have 2 at $12, 2 at $13, and 2 at $14. So I think these people are going to unionize and give you guys trouble for having this pay scale where you have 2 of these lifeguards at the top. They're making almost double than some of these people at the very bottom. I think there's definitely going to be some unionization you got to worry about here. And I think maybe I don't know exactly what's going on. I know there's
I don't see any. Oh.
I know maybe one way to go about this. Some of it might be seniority and years of experience. I don't really know how this is done, but maybe one way I know that there might be a base wage where it's $9.50, and then an instructor rate for the hours that you teach swim lessons, and then a coach rate for the hours that you are involved with the swim team. Maybe something like that might make more sense than this. Maybe that's baked into this. I don't know, but it seems a little funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have another issue about the pool. Again, this year it is only for Niskuna residents. The Niskuna facilities need to be open to all residents, not just Niskuna residents. There's a number of kids that could use a pool that are not Niskuna residents that don't have a pool close by. And the fact is that the kids in Schenectady, there's a majority of them are from minorities and immigrant backgrounds. And so then you have in Niskuna, and you have a majority of people are white. So what you have here is a de facto racist policy where you're not allowing the kids next door, the kids right on that artificial line, the arbitrary political line, you're not letting them use your pool. And so that needs to change. You want to change, charge a little bit more money for non-residents, that's fine. That's legitimate, right? Because they don't participate in the upkeep of the pools, but you charge them a little more. That's something that golf courses do and things like that. It's kind of standard to have, one rate for residents and another rate for non-residents. So I really think that this policy of allowing only Niskayuna residents to use the pool, it's just not neighborly. What kind of message are we sending to our neighbors in Schenectady? Oh, you can't use our pool. It's not very nice. Historical committee, I think there's notice there wasn't one person on the historical committee, which is the historian. So maybe you want to put him on historical committee. And there's a lot of good ways to put, maybe you should involve him in the selection process of people who are going to serve on the committee. But there's also a number of good, innovative, democratic methods to get a broad array of people involved with committees and things like this. And that's sortition. You randomly select people and invite them to serve on the committee. Because I think you might get some people who volunteer and want to serve on the historical committee, but also you might need somebody that knows nothing about history and their perspective on things. You might want to get some students involved too. So sortition is a good way to make sure there's a lot of perspectives involved. So I just heard tonight that you're going to table that. I think that's good. You can kind of stew this in a little bit more and think about exactly how the process should be involved, or whether it, I thought maybe the de facto, the ad hoc committee was, I don't know. Anyway, you guys will talk more about it. The last item on the agenda, my agenda, is the turf management program. I saw that since 2009, since at least 2009, the New York State has required the town to put together a stormwater management plan report, and that's great. And Niskayuna has done that. And as part of that form, there is a question about the turf management. And so this year, so at least 10 years since it was first asked about by the state, we're doing one. I don't know what it is. It's not posted on the website, but there's going to be a public hearing about it. So the sooner that report or the management program can be posted, and so people can read it and evaluate it, because there's 2 weeks before the hearing, and give people some time to read the plan before you have the public meeting. I think that would be helpful. I also noticed in the stormwater management report that there's a listing for phosphorus applied and nitrogen applied and pesticide and herbicides applied in number of acres. And this is for, I think it only applies to town lands or lands managed by the municipal lands. But last year I saw yellow warning signs on the Zena Road soccer fields and the River Road Park. So I know that there is something hazardous that's being put on those fields. I heard it was potentially fertilizer. I don't know what else is being put on there, but I think there's an outside company that comes in and puts that on. So whatever kind of fertilizers and nitrogen, phosphorus and nitrogen, or pesticides or herbicides, whatever they're applying, I think should be part of this report as well. And I think maybe as a town, we should think about, well, how much do all the residents use? How much do all the golf courses use? What is our total impact of the town? What is our impact on the stormwater management from all the poison that people put on their lawns? So that might be something we want to consider about not just town land, but everybody's land. What is our cumulative impact from all these poisons that people put on their lawns? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Lori Purdy, our coordinator of community programs, could you just come up for a minute and discuss our pay scale at the pool?
I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Do it when we get to the resolution.
Okay.
Lorraine Zabin, 2455 Brookshire Drive. I'd like to take one more minute and tell you that on the Niskayuna website about 2 or 3 months ago, maybe not quite that long, Mr. Amberger's name was removed from the assessors list. And the last time I checked, I think there were only 4 members. There has to be 5, I assume, to conduct grievance days. So that means that we had a new person on the grievance board, the assessment board, which tells me that this board, in all its innocence, probably had Mr. Amberger. Then I don't even know him. I wouldn't know him if he was in the room. But obviously, he had been the appointed one because of his affiliation. But I still feel that when we have a high-powered job in Niskayuna for a 6-year term coming up, that we need to advertise. That was our policy. We were an open town. Now we are a closed town, and we always appoint someone that knows someone. And I feel that that's not fair to people that may be out there, live in town, live in the county, that have as much right to these jobs as our selected few. Thank you.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Elmer, anything else? Just, yeah.
Next year.
Next year. And last call, privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak. Okay, seeing no one else wishing to speak, I'm going to close privilege of the floor, and we're now going to move on to our committee reports. We are going to begin with Councilwoman Weber.
Thank you. In community programs, we are getting ready for the opening of our town pool in mid-June and our town camps shortly after when school's let out. We have 2 resolutions on our agenda to hire, I would say, around 100 teens and young people to help us run the pools and our camps, working as lifeguards and recreational assistants. We have our splash pad under construction, ready to go sometime this summer, weather dependent on the exact date. With the grant we received from Niskayuna Community Foundation last year, the Community Programs Department has purchased 6 benches that are in the Highway Department garage, waiting to be put alongside the splash pad for parents watching their children. We're still in the process of registering campers, registering for swim lessons and swim teams, and selling annual pool passes. Again, we are pleased to offer volunteer firefighters and their families a free annual pool pass as a small token of appreciation for the sacrifice that they voluntarily make each day to keep our community safe all year. Please visit niskayuna.org on the internet or come into Town Hall for more information about any of our programs. Our summer concert series outside at the gazebo begins this week on the 30th at 7 p.m. We are in the process of planning the farmers market. We have a planning committee made up of residents that is accepting applications for our second Saturday farmers market to be held at the co-op side parking lot starting in July. At our senior center, we had excellent time at Niska Day. Our senior center participated in the parade with a balloon-filled float and distributed plenty of information about their programming in the information tent in the afternoon. It was a great day. We're very excited to have a new awning installed at the side entrance of the lower level of the senior center last week. They've been looking forward to it for quite some while. It's an important addition both for the comfort and the safety of our seniors that exit and enter the building through that entrance each day. I don't want to end my committee report without expressing my heartfelt condolences and sympathies on behalf of the senior center to the town of Glenville Senior Center for the loss of one of their members in the tragic accident last week at their town's Memorial Day parade. We held a moment of silence last week at our senior center last Thursday. So our thoughts and prayers are with them. Our next meeting for community programs is June 4th at 3 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Next committee report is Councilman Delarada.
Thank you, Supervisor. As you know, I chair the Economic Development and Historical Preservation Committee. We meet on the first Friday of every month. This month will be Friday, June 7th, right here in the Schaefer Room at Town Hall. The planning board has been busy. They are reviewing 2340 Knott Street East. That is a section of land right across from ShopRite, adjacent to Van Antwerp Village. The proposal for a 25-unit apartment building is nearing completion. They've been talking about that now for well over 2 years. They've also been reviewing several small subdivisions on Pierce Road, and we did have, as you all know, 2 well-attended forums for the proposed Holocaust Memorial at 2501 Troy Schenectady Road. And I do want to thank everyone that facilitated those conversations. The long chemicals continues to be a hot topic, and we hear a variety of concerns from our residents about certain lawn chemicals that are applied over the growing season. We did have an excellent seminar by Mr. David Chinnery about ways to reduce or eliminate pesticides and fertilizers on your property, and this presentation can be watched on our town website. We do encourage people to view it. I'm very glad to be able to watch on the website because I wasn't able to attend that seminar. We are also preparing an email with some of the main takeaways from that presentation. So hopefully that will continue to inform our residents about alternatives to our lawn from pesticides and some dangerous fertilizers. Again, our next meeting is Friday, June 7th at 8:15, and all are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Next committee report, Councilwoman McGraw.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. Elmer, I'm going to answer a couple of your questions first because I'm in that kind of mood tonight. So our previous board, Metroplex board appointee from the town was Bill Chapman. I think somebody from the audience yelled out that name, Bill Chapman, the former town board member. And he always came and gave updates. He would give once annual, sometimes even more than that update. Paul Webster has since taken his position, and I believe that the supervisor reappointed him. You know these rules better than I do. The appointments are at the sole privy of the supervisor. This is how it's been explained to me. And Paul Webster has been that appointee for the last few years. I know he attends John's meetings for that committee, the Economic Development Committee meeting. And I also know that one of the things that we've done in the Economic Development Committee meeting, because I've been attending those meetings, is to try to have a more regular schedule that the planner has asked each of these boards, and they would come and give a regular update. So she's got a lot of boards that she oversees, and Metroplex would certainly be one of them since they were supposed to be doing that. So we'll let you know. How's that? But that was an excellent point that you're making.
What? No, what?
When Paul Webster comes to make the Metroplex presentation that you had at,
Right.
I know what you're saying. You're saying something a little bit different, but I want you to know that, yep.
Ray Gillis makes a report to the county legislature, and the only thing that's failing is he doesn't give popcorn. But I mean, tells you nothing about what's going on.
Okay.
And that is what this would do as well.
Okay.
Before you leave, you want to take this with you, and you can look at what the law says.
Okay.
For better or worse.
So for the Highway Committee update, the committee that I actually chair, I just want to touch on a couple of things. There's some paving going on around town. It's already started. They have a very busy schedule. Also, the yard waste pickups are out there. Ray Smith and his team just asked if, when you know that your neighborhood is up on the docket for us, make sure you get your yard waste out in a timely fashion. They hit the streets at 6:30 in the morning, so we'd hate you to miss it because you didn't put it out until before you left for work or something. The park crews are very, very busy. Anybody driving around town can see that the park crews are out there getting everything mowed, getting things painted, getting things ready to go for our busy season. Councilwoman Weber talked about the splash pad that'll be coming later this spring. The dog park upgrades are also coming thanks to Ray Smith and Matt Yetto. There's a lot of new things that'll be happening there. Lori Peretti helped bring that all together for us. I know people are very interested in that. There's been paving from water main breaks. There's been some landscaping going on with the water and sewer team. They've been very busy doing that. I think we heard from privilege of the floor, the turf management plan. We'll be having the hearing on that. Matt Yetto's team, working in conjunction with Ray Smith, are putting the finishing touches on that. We've always had a turf management plan. We just didn't have it in writing, and we're submitting it to the state. But Ray has had something that he's been going by for a number of years, and he and Matt are working together to get that out, and so we could have that hearing. The new bathroom at the transfer station, this was something that folks really wanted, they requested, and that's moving right along. Lisa mentioned the splash pad one more time, and I think, and just Route 7, there's a major project going on there, a water main project going on there, from Mohawk to Elisha Kill, and the team is working very hard to get that completed. And that's all I have, Madam Supervisor.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next committee report, Councilman McPartlin.
Thank you, Supervisor. Police and Public Safety, we met on May 7th. Operationally, we discussed canvas letters. The Deputy Chief has sent out 2 canvas letters for 2 positions in the Police Department. So we'll be looking at applications there to get people in the Academy for July's Academy. We also discussed NCAP has some funds for signage at the parks. Ray Smith from Highway was at our meeting to discuss some signage that they have a grant money for and are willing to fund. So we're looking to get some signage at our parks for no alcoholic beverages and those types of things, smoking and other types of signs for our parks. I want to thank Officer Koshan for finishing his traffic safety grant application that's been completed and submitted. Fleet and equipment, our cars are being built, so hopefully we'll see those within the next month or 2. Training, range, our spring training is underway. Our officers are retrained on the firearms at the range, and that happens in May and June. ACO training, the chief, deputy chief, and dog warden attended that May 15th and 16th. That's animal control officer training. Citizen issues. Rosendale and Niskayuna Road. Chief and Ray discussed signage options for that area, 30-mile-an-hour signs, and actually maybe adding some orange triangles to some of the signs on Rosendale Road to make them more apparent to drivers. In Antwerp, we had a speed complaint, Brookshire Drive, and other complaints. So we discuss all those and increase our patrols when we can. Community events, baseball opening day, police week was May 12th through the 18th. The pedal paddle run we discussed, and then obviously Niska Day on May 18th. Want to thank all our officers and everyone who participated in that. No town code issues or court issues. The fire department is canvassing for 1 additional fireman in District 1. And last but not least, in regards to the Hillcrest Village incident yesterday, we want to thank the sheriffs and especially the state police major crimes and forensic investigation unit, which is assisting our department in their investigation. The chief found it necessary that in an instance when something like this occurs, he has many resources at his availability. And if he deems it necessary, he uses those resources, and that's at no expense to the town. So he was, I think, very wise in doing that. We want to thank them for their help. And our next meeting is June 4th, 8 a.m. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. So instead of going through my usual supervisor's report, I would like to talk about the recent news. Councilman McPartlin just touched on it briefly. As many of you know now, terrible tragedy occurred at Hillcrest Village West. It resulted in the senseless death of a 21-year-old girl. Our prayers go out to her family. Violence of this kind shouldn't occur here in Niskayuna. It quite frankly shouldn't occur anywhere. I'd like to thank our officers who responded, who continue to investigate. You have our full, unwavering support for wrapping up this investigation. This town board will make sure that you have all the tools necessary to ensure the safety of our town and community. So thank you for doing that. And again, our prayers go out to Ayanna Hunter's family. And with that, we're going to move on to our resolutions. And our first resolution, I will introduce, we will second it, and then we will make a motion to table. And that resolution is 2019-139, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to further enhance the duties of the town historian and to create a town historical committee.
Thank you. I will second. Can I have a motion to table?
Yes, I will move to table resolution number 2019-139.
Okay, and I will second that motion to table. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to table?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes to table.
Okay. Next resolution, 2019-140, sponsored by Supervisor Syed and Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint summer interns to the Planning and Building Department and Supervisor's Office.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I would just like to thank these young people for being willing to work at Town Hall this summer, especially Dana Braga, who will be joining the planning department. She is a fine young woman I have known for a very long time, and I was thrilled to know that she was interested in town government and wanted to play a role here this summer.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-141, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to call for a public hearing of a special use permit for the Niskayuna Farmers Market at the Co-op.
Thank you. I will second. Is there any discussion?
This is for a public hearing to be held June 11th on 2019 at 7 o'clock, right here at the Niskayuna Town Hall.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-142, sponsored by Councilwoman Weber. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint summer staff to the Community and Programs Department for the pool.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, during privilege of the floor, there was some conversation about how much lifeguards make. I want to thank that resident because he did point out there are 2 people on the lifeguard list that were being moved up from rec attendant to lifeguard, and they do not have the right amount next to it. That was my mistake. So we need to just make that correction in the resolution. Connor Dugai needs to be at $9 and Jordan Zenner needs to be at $9.
Okay.
And
Would you like to make a motion to amend?
I will make a motion to amend this resolution.
Okay. I will second the motion to amend. And what were those amendments?
Connor Dugai from $7.25 to $9.
Okay.
If in fact he is a lifeguard, right? Okay.
Okay.
And Jordan Zenner, the last name on the list, from $7.25 to $9. These are both kids who have worked at the pool, who've moved up from the rec attendant snack bar position. They went and got their lifeguard license at their own expense and have gotten a promotion due to that.
Okay. Are there any further amendments?
No.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion, on the amended motion?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes on the
And
amendment.
that resolution passes as amended. Next resolution, 2019.
I'm sorry. I thought we were just voting on the amendment. I wanted to talk to the other comments that were made. So young people who work at the town pool can either work as a rec attendant. They all make the same amount of money. We encourage people to get their lifeguarding license because there is a shortage throughout the capital region of kids who have lifeguarding certificates and all of the other certifications that go with it. They start at $9 to lifeguard and they work their way up. They teach lessons and they coach swimming, the swim team. Those kids who are at the higher end of the bracket, they primarily do those two jobs. They don't just lifeguard. They get very few hours, if any, just sitting by the pool and guarding lives. They are doing something, they are creating lesson plans, they are creating sets. So there's a lot more that's expected of them from the kids who are at the higher end of the spectrum. And that's
Great.
all I had to say.
Okay, great. Next resolution, 2019-143, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint summer staff to the Community Programs Department at the playground employees.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second. Oh, this is my resolution, sorry.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Abstain?
Supervisor Syed.
Aye.
4 ayes and 1 abstain.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-144, sponsored by Councilman McPartlin. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to approve the sale of a surplus vehicle and other surplus equipment.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we table this. There's some incorrect information on this particular resolution. I don't believe that a 2015 Chevy Tahoe, it's been brought to my attention that's not the right vehicle.
Okay.
It appears it's a Ford, and I'm not sure if that VIN number is correct, so
Okay.
I'd like to table that until we can get that straightened out.
Okay. I will second your motion to table. And will the clerk please call the roll on that motion to table?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes to table.
Okay. And that motion is tabled. Next resolution, 2019-145, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a water and sewer maintenance worker 2.
Thank you. Can I get a second? I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-146, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to approve the 2019 first quarter corporate warrant.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-147, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to approve the 2018 fourth quarter corporate reconciliation.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-148, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint summer staff to the park and water and sewer departments.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-149, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to call for a public hearing for the town turf management program.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-150, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a maintenance worker in the highway department.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-151, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a grounds worker to the Parks Department.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-152, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to purchase a 10-wheel dump truck, plow, and sander for use in the Highway Department.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-153, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to make certain budgetary modifications.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-154, sponsored by Supervisor Syed and Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a deputy town attorney.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Well, Alexis Kim, we could not be happier that you are here. It was a long road to find you, but it was well worth the wait. For those of you who do not know her, she grew up in our town. She went to Niskayuna schools. She is, we stole her from New York City and then from Albany. I don't know how we were able to do it, but Paul Briggs did a wonderful job of this recruitment for this position. I'm very grateful to him, but not nearly as grateful as he is to her for being willing to come here. I really think it's a welcome addition to our team. I'm glad you didn't go until 8:45 tonight, so you could see all the fun, but we are thrilled to have you, and we know that you're going to just make us better and smarter. So thank you, Alexis.
Thanks. Is there any further discussion?
Yes. It's taken us a long time to find the right candidate to fill this position of deputy town attorney, but I believe that the candidate we're appointing tonight is worth the wait. Alexis Kim has stellar credentials, but what impressed me most when I met her was her intellectual curiosity, energy, and motivation. You can just tell that she's someone who's going to make a difference in government, and we're excited to have you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
this resolution passes. Alexis, welcome aboard. Next resolution, 2019-155, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to permanently appoint an employee in the Water and Sewer Department.
Trying to find it here. Okay. Thank you. I will second. Any discussion?
Andy's been a great addition to what we're trying to do in water and sewer. He's got a great intellectual curiosity. He's just got such a nice manner about him. He's great with the residents. He's great with the committee chair, and that's the hardest part of the job. And so I am thrilled to be sponsoring this resolution.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-156, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a town assessor.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I'm glad he's grabbing the microphone because I was going to call on him. Paul Briggs, could you please explain the process by which we went and how this resolution sponsored by the supervisor came about?
Yes. We considered a number of candidates. We actually interviewed Eric, and we thought he was an excellent candidate. He has good credentials. But I need to point out that Eric, if he's appointed, will not be the town assessor until Amy actually terminates her position. So Eric will be in training in effect. Amy will still be the town assessor till her last date, which is somewhere near the end of July. She will be the assessor that will be signing the tax roll on July 1, and will continue her duties with Eric in training. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
So where did we find Eric Amberger? If I was to listen to tonight, I would think that he just dropped from the sky. So Paul Briggs, I know, and you don't feel well, so I'm not going to drag it out, but
I tried to go short.
I know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've been one of the town attorneys now for, oh boy, almost 30 years. I think it's 29 or 30. And one of my jobs from day one has been, I'm in charge of the assessor's office, which involves tax certiorari claims, primarily where our commercial properties in town challenge their taxes every year. And they do every year. And I've worked closely with Amy and the respective school district attorneys on each of those challenges each year. And I was impressed with Eric's resume because Eric has the credentials that I find needed to assist me in my work litigating these matters on behalf of the town, because he is an employee of, or was an employee of a company called GAR, which is, I don't know what it stands for, but it's probably some assessment review company. I don't know what the G stands for, but I think GAR, if I remember right, and maybe I don't, was the company that actually helped the town with its reassessment. I don't know.
Leslie's saying yes,
Yes.
so it must be right.
So
That's accurate.
Eric has been working down in the Hudson area, working in the city of Hudson, and he comes highly qualified. And I was thrilled that we could find someone with his qualifications. He also was on the town board of assessment review for a number of years.
And he was the chair. They voted by his colleagues to be the chair of that board.
And I would point out that he's the only one we interviewed, and we were all so impressed with him that we thought that our first interview was our last interview. And he came highly recommended by our current assessor, and I had interviewed Eric first, and then he was interviewed by the supervisor and
Thank you.
Denise, and he's highly qualified, and I think he'll be a good member of our town, and he'll be someone that I'm looking forward to working with. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's almost over, Paul.
Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
Eric Amberger is an excellent choice for the position of the assessor of the town of Niskayuna. He served ably as a member of the town's Board of Assessment Review. We actually served together for a few years. He did not replace me, as Ms. Zabin has said in her privilege of the floor. He's has experience assessing properties throughout the capital region and has worked for an assessment company that assists localities in their revaluations. I am abstaining from this vote. I know Eric personally as part of my group of neighborhood friends. I can tell you that he's one of the most responsible, diligent, dependable, detail-oriented people that I know. As Mr. Briggs has described, he has interviewed Mr. Amberger, and Mr. Amberger was recommended by Amy Houlihan. I was not at all involved in the interview process or candidate selection process to fill this position, but to avoid even the slightest appearance of impropriety due to my friendship with Mr. Amberger and his family, I will abstain from this vote.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilman McGraw.
With great pride, aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilman Weber.
Abstain.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
4 ayes and 1 abstention.
And this resolution passes. Welcome aboard, Eric. Next resolution, 2019-157, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to amend Resolution 2019-11, designating banks to be the depository of funds.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I just want to point out what the amendment is. It's adding a bank to the list of depository funds, and that bank is Bank of Greene County. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-158, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the supervisor to enter into a lease agreement for a postage machine.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-159, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to amend Resolution 2018-310, establishing dates for the town board meetings.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? And I just want to point out on this one, the amendment is our next regular town board meeting will not be Tuesday, June 25th. Instead, it will be Thursday, June 20th. So nobody show up here for a town board meeting on 25th. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-160, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to amend Resolution 2019-60, appointing a temporary employee in the Parks Department.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-161, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to amend Resolution 2019-99, appointing an employee in the Planning Department.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-162, sponsored by Supervisor Syed and Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to retain and counseling firm to provide grant writing and administrative services.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. We'll do the ceremonials quick, 'cause we didn't second or vote on them. So 2019-163. I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And that resolution passes. Next, we have 2019-164. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And last, we have 2019-165. If I can have a second on that one.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes. And
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
I would just like to say that the ceremonial resolutions are an important part of what we do. They're part of the fabric of our community. It's important to celebrate the achievements of our residents, and especially when young people are involved, it's an important way to introduce them to what our local government does. It may be the only time that they come and see what we do here at the town board. So I think this is an important use of our time.
Thank you.
Here, here.
And last, I have appointments. Appointment by the supervisor to the position of confidential secretary will be Brian Arbakis. And last, I will entertain a motion to adjourn if someone would like to make that motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. I will second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? We are now adjourned. Everybody have a wonderful evening.
I made the motion, but I